Tonight, up in flames.
We had the same crews going to repeat fires and a number of fires simultaneously.
How many fires at vacant homes crews responded to overnight and the strain it's putting on resources. Also tonight, shoring up the rainy day fund,
which is needed, is necessary to strengthen our financial position.
Where the city is pulling the money from. Plus, growing impatient.
It's slow, it's cozy.
How local garden centers are trying to keep busy amid a slow start to the planting season and what it means for workers.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Winnipeg fire crews were kept busy last night responding to 6 blazes at 5 vacant properties in the span of just 3 hours. Live on Power Street, where one of those fires broke out tonight, is CTV's Daniel Helmerson. Danny, how did fire damage that house last night?
Well, Marilee, it's a little tough to say. This isn't the first time that this house has caught fire. In fact, the head of the neighborhood association told me he can think of a dozen times either this home or the 2 neighboring properties have caught fire in the last few years alone. Daryl Warren has seen this scene far too many times, the aftermath of a vacant house fire in the city's William White neighborhood.
They've responded here 12 times to these 3 particular properties. That's ridiculous. We need to go ahead and work on solutions to go ahead and combat this.
This home on Power Street caught fire just after 12:30 Tuesday morning. It's one of 5 boarded up properties Winnipeg fire crews responded to overnight in a 3-hour window. The other fires happened on St. John's, Boyd, Manitoba, and Alexander Avenues.
We had the same crews going to repeat fires and a number of fires simultaneously. It's huge demand on our crews, both physically and emotionally.
Deputy Fire Chief Scott Wilkinson says nobody was found inside the homes and no injuries were reported. The cause of the fires are being investigated.
There's definitely concerns that these are incendiary or possibly arson, and being in the same area, we don't know for sure if they're related to same or similar individuals, but it's something we're working closely with the police service on for sure.
Daryl Warren credits the city for beefing up enforcement on vacant homes to ensure they're harder to get into, but he adds there's just far too many abandoned buildings in his neck of the woods.
Last count, we had over 200 properties that are either vacant lots, boarded up, fire houses like this one behind me. We need to go ahead and make people that own properties like this accountable.
In December, City Council approved a plan to crack down further on vacant and derelict properties. Those measures include increasing empty building fees and speeding up the process for the city to seize these homes.
I want our city staff to be using every tool in our book that's available to us as a city to take title of the properties that we can take title of sooner.
Now, the mayor, deputy fire chief, and Daryl Warren are all urging people who live near this house on Powers or any of the other properties that burned last night to check video surveillance, and if you did find anything, to please call police or report to Crime Stoppers.
Danny, anything else residents can do or should know?
Well, if you see someone going into a vacant building or prying back those boards you see on the doors and windows, call 911 right away. And if you come across a breached property, so you already see the windows or doors open, contact 311 and report it so that the city bylaw officers can follow up.
All right, thanks for this, Daniel. And those weren't the only fires that happened overnight. A blaze at a home in the 300 block of Locke Street in the Weston neighborhood sent one person to hospital in critical condition. A cat was also found dead. The house sustained serious fire damage and is considered a complete loss. As you can see, the exterior walls and some of the shingles burned. The interior also appears to have been gutted. The cause of this fire is under investigation. A 53-year-old man is dead following a fatal motorcycle crash. On May 11th around midnight, RCMP received a report a motorcycle had gone into a ditch. It happened at the intersection of Highway 276 and Road 141 West, just north of St. Rose de Lac. Police believe the man was riding south and went off the road on the wrong side after coming to a curve in the highway. Authorities found the man laying next to his motorcycle in the east ditch and attempted to revive him, but he died at the scene. A new report is creating a path to address the city's cash-strapped rainy day fund. The emergency reserve was nearly wiped out during the pandemic, and as CTV's Jeff Keel shows you, money once budgeted for roads could be transferred to the fund.
The city could be shifting surplus roads money to partially shore up its emergency fund.
Is needed, is necessary to strengthen our financial position.
A report to the Mayor's Executive Policy Committee is recommending the city transfer $18.4 million to the Rainy Day Fund. $3.4 million of that is reserve money left over from the Pembina Underpass and BRT projects. $15 million would come from a Regional Streets Renewal Program surplus. The report says the move won't result in any increase in property taxes or impact projects approved for last year or this year.
That $15 million was from an old program. All the road work was done in that program, so we didn't omit any project.
The mayor says the city is spending record amounts on roads, and it's prudent to use this money to help replenish the Rainy Day Fund, which can be used to cover off year-end shortfalls and unexpected expenses.
Our support to transit and our support for snow clearing perhaps is below what we believe the actual revenues and expenses are going to be.
But the Manitoba Heavy Construction Association is disappointed roadwork money could be diverted.
The city has been dedicating funds year over year to road investment, but anyone can see driving through our city that there's definitely still investment to be made.
The Rainy Day Fund was nearly depleted during the pandemic, and even with this transfer still won't top it up. The report says this would put the year-end balance at $44.2 million. The minimum threshold is $85.1 million, still leaving the fund more than $45 million light. A problem for the next council over the next 4 years.
The expectation would be that over that period of time that there would be an opportunity to bring the reserve back up to the full amount.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
In order for the money to be transferred, 2/3 of council must vote in favor. Construction season is officially underway, and with that, drivers are being urged to slow down. It's all part of this year's Safe Roads campaign. The purpose is to remind Manitobans to drive safely through construction zones and to give workers the necessary respect they deserve. Last year, according to the Workers' Compensation Board, there were 62 transportation injuries, up from 40 the year before, making the message all that more important.
We're asking every driver in Manitoba to do a few simple things. Slow down and give workers space to do their job safely. Put the phone away. Move over when you see workers on the shoulder. Follow a flag person's directions and respect road signs.
To locate where road closures are, you can head to the City of Winnipeg's website. We'll get ready to let off the gas pedal if you travel the South Perimeter Highway. Construction is officially underway on a new interchange at the intersection of the Perimeter and Highway 3 by Oak Bluff. You can expect to see some temporary traffic control measures, construction equipment, and automated flagger assistance devices. At the moment, no major road closures or detours are planned, but you're likely to see reduced speed limits and heavy trucks in the area. The project involves a 4-lane divided highway and 2-lane undivided overpass. It's expected to wrap up by 2030. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your sunny Skywatch forecast. Spring has appeared, Colleen.
Every now and again, it does, and it is right now. Up to 19 degrees right now here in the city. Brandon up to 22. Little cloudier out there. We maybe see some scattered showers just popping quickly through the southwest. And after a sluggish start to the day here, cloudy, cool, windy, the sun finally out. But look how fast these arrows are traveling. That tells you the winds are still strong and generally coming from the north. A look ahead to the rest of the week and a look now at our full long weekend forecast coming up. But let's take a look right now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. It's brought to you, well, it's the CTV Live Eye, but it's brought to you by Bathfitter. It is the exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. In Winnipeg right now, it's sunny and 19. Windy winds coming from the north. The pressure's rising and the humidity is 33%.
Thanks, Colleen. A 42-year-old Winnipeg woman is facing a number of charges after a 5-ton truck was stolen and a police officer was injured. Stonewall RCMP say the truck was stolen from a business on Paramount Road in Winnipeg last Tuesday morning. It was then seen traveling on the West Perimeter Highway before coming to a stop near Roblin Boulevard. A police officer was injured and a parked police car was damaged when the vehicle suddenly started moving again. Police tried to stop it with a spike belt near Oak Bluff, but the driver drove through a ditch onto the service road to avoid it. The truck then collided with a school bus at Highway 2 and McDonald Road before driving off again. The suspect was arrested a short time later in a field southwest of Oak Bluff. The stolen truck was found behind a nearby shop. The suspect faces 9 charges, including assault on a police officer with a weapon causing bodily harm, operation while impaired by drugs causing bodily harm, and theft of a motor vehicle over $5,000. Community members and local officials are taking part in a panel discussion tonight on the implications of a proposed supervised consumption site in their neighborhood. And this one is being organized by the community itself. Live at the banquet hall on Henry, where that town hall is taking place tonight, is CTV's John Hendricks. So, John, what's the turnout like?
Mary Lee, it's people are still coming in at the moment, but there's already a couple of dozen people here this evening. Now, among the numbers of people who are here are officials from the Winnipeg Police Service, members of Winnipeg City Council, and other concerned residents. Now, this is going to be an opportunity for people to get information and people to have a dialogue about the proposed supervised consumption site, which is slated to go in literally right across the street, in essence, from this very location. Now, I spoke with one of the organizers of this event, and they tell me it will be an opportunity for dialogue, and it will be an opportunity for people here to get some information about this proposed consumption site, something that they feel, in essence, has been lacking. One of the officials who are organizing this say that they have broadly canvassed some of the area residents and business owners in the area, and they feel that there has been a lack of information about what the plan will be. They'd like to know what will be the metrics for success. How many people are going to be coming to utilize the site? What will be done in terms of safety and security? So they have a lot of questions. They feel that the governing NDP have not answered those questions, at least to their satisfaction. I know PC leader Abi Khan was criticizing the Canoe government for not sending an official representative to speak here this evening. However, Government Addictions Minister Bernadette Smith does have a committee meeting this evening.
All right. Thanks for this, John. The city is setting the stage for a rapid transit system downtown, and it's asking for your help ironing out the details. It looks like something like this. Designated on-street rapid transit on Main Street from Marion to Portage Avenue, then Portage Avenue to Sutherland Avenue, as well as Portage Avenue from Main Street to Maryland Street. Additionally, there are plans for elevated transit-only infrastructure between Harkness Station and Portage Avenue. There are still some open questions, though, such as whether the on-street lines will run curbside or right up the center of the road. The city says it's going to start by gathering feedback from local stakeholders next month before hosting 3 rounds of public engagement between this fall and 2028. Planners expect to have a design ready to present by summer of 2028. Cool spring weather is causing Winnipeg Garden Center's sales to feel downright frosty. Owners have had to cut staff due to lower than seasonal temperatures as gardeners wait to buy their plants. But as CTV's Joseph Bernacki explains, warm weather will hopefully get things back on track.
Inside Ron Paul Garden Center, owner Ray Dubois waters dozens of bedding trays. By this time of year, however, many of these flowers would already be off the shelf. But Mother Nature didn't cooperate this year for a strong sales start.
In my 17 years, I don't recall seeing a weird late start like this. It would be warm but rainy, but at least warm. I don't recall seeing just this cold and just unpleasantness.
Dubois says demand simply has not taken off. While customers have been trickling in, the plants are staying put. In turn, it's caused him to cut back on hours for seasonal staff.
Now we've been bringing them back on because they're students, you know, and other people need to pay rent. And we are, though, running out of things to clean. So it's been a little tough.
Dubois says his garden center received a record number of applications this season. He's not the only one hoping to bring in more staff. By Tuesday afternoon, the sun came out over St. Leon Gardens. But owners here say they have more staff than customers right now.
It always is a challenging balancing act to know how busy this year is going to be. We can always adjust, and we just know that it's going to get busy. It just hasn't started yet.
St. Leon's covers these plants overnight due to frost warnings. They've been adjusting on the fly.
We've hired as many staff as we need compared to last year. We've just had to send some staff home here and there, depending on if it's freezing today. Well, it won't be very busy in the plants, for example.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A former premier, an award-winning singer-songwriter, and a four-time Grey Cup champion are among 12 Manitobans being inducted into the Order of Manitoba. Brian Pallister will be invested into the order at a ceremony on Thursday, July 16th at the legislature. Among others, he'll be joined by Dr. Joss Reimer, Indigenous leader Diane Rusin, and Elder Billy Shibler. Juno winner Chantal Kreviazik is also being inducted, along with former Winnipeg Blue Bomber Andrew Harris, Métis hockey player Jocelyn Larocque, and opera singer Tracy Dahl. The Order of Manitoba honors Manitobans who have demonstrated excellence and achievement, enriching the social, cultural, or economic well-being of Manitoba. Still to come tonight, several Canadian cities are clamoring for the chance to host a new multinational defense bank.
The economics and the diplomacy. So we're the only city that can give both.
Why the competition is so fierce and what's at stake. That story just ahead. Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil added more than $4. The loonie slipped below 73 cents U.S. Gold futures plunged $42. The TSX rose 151 points. The Dow Jones was up 56 points, while the Nasdaq dropped 185 points. An international fugitive is back in custody tonight after being caught during a traffic stop here in Winnipeg. Police spotted a truck speeding in the Exchange District last Tuesday afternoon. They stopped it near Higgins Avenue and MacArthur Street. And after identifying the driver, police learned the 35-year-old man from Tennessee had outstanding warrants for aggravated statutory rape, soliciting sexual exploitation of a minor, and aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor from the United States. The Canada Border Services Agency, FBI, and police in Tennessee were all notified. The man is being held by border agents until he can be returned to the U.S. The race is heating up to be the Canadian headquarters of the new Defense, Security and Resilience Bank. At least 4 cities are vying to host the international financial institution designed to fund defense projects and create thousands of jobs. CTV's Judy Trin has the details.
Global finance and advanced innovation.
Toronto's bid to host the new Defense, Security and Resilience Bank was launched with a glitzy video and a full-court press.
We have Team Ontario, united to support Toronto.
The new defense bank could involve 40 countries. It could hold an estimated $135 billion U.S. in assets and employ 3,500 people. Other than Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, and Ottawa are competing for the headquarters. Analysts say the winning city needs to have more than just financial expertise.
Good cultural sensibility. I think it needs to be able to communicate with different players in different countries.
Toronto is one of the most diverse cities on earth. People from every corner of the world come here.
The majority of the bank's member nations will be in Europe. Connections, Montreal's mayor says the city has.
The economics and the diplomacy. So we're the only city that can give both. The economic diplomacy that this bank needs.
But politics are at play. Depending on which party wins the Quebec election in the fall, there could be another referendum on Quebec's separation.
We're not going to engage in campaigns of fear, for starters. We have the strength and the maturity to receive international organizations, bottom line.
The goal of the Defense Bank is to provide lower interest loans to smaller companies so they can develop technology and expand faster. Ottawa has dozens of innovative companies, but the capital's airport doesn't have many international flights. Not a problem with Vancouver, which could be a prime location to attract Asian nations to join.
We're the gateway to the Pacific. We actually are in the perfect time zone to bridge those gaps.
I think the headline for everybody that they need to know is that Canada will lead the world in defense finance.
The federal government has yet to lay out its criteria, nor has it set a deadline. But regardless of what city is selected, Canada is the big winner. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The head of the World Health Organization says at this time there are no signs of a broader hantavirus outbreak.
But of course, the situation could change. And given the long incubation period of the virus, it's possible we might see more cases in the coming weeks.
All the passengers who were on the cruise ship have now gone home. 3 people died of the hantavirus and 7 cases were confirmed in all. Here in Canada, 9 people are being monitored, 4 in BC, 2 in Alberta and 3 in Ontario. There's growing political crisis in the UK. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer told his cabinet today he will not resign, despite growing calls from within his own party.
Is this the changing Prime Minister?
Starmer is under pressure to step down following last week's disastrous local election results. He's also facing criticism over a struggling economy. Starmer won a landslide victory back in 2024. The next general election is still 3 years away. Meantime, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister has left for the Persian Gulf, where she will visit Oman and Qatar. Anita Anand is slated to discuss defense and security while courting investment. The trip comes as the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran continues to impact the Middle East and international energy markets.
How do we know that the ceasefire is active or not active without any documentation?
We know it's evident, and the ceasefire is in effect.
Mr. Cuellar.
That's despite Iranian attacks and the ongoing U.S. blockade, but the Americans say Tehran's acts of aggression are below the threshold of major combat operations, and therefore the truce has not been violated. Thousands of people have died in this war, and the Pentagon said today the financial cost of the conflict is $29 billion so far. U.S. President Donald Trump is headed to Beijing for a high-stakes summit with China's president. The 2 leaders are expected to discuss a host of issues from trade to Iran to Taiwan. Janice Mackey-Freyer has more from Beijing.
The historic summit is less about deals or breakthroughs and more about managing tensions in a U.S.-China relationship that is strained. The visit, President Trump's second to China as president, was delayed because of the Iran war, but is now going ahead despite the Iran war. At the center are the same big issues: trade, technology, and security. The U.S. is likely to focus on tariffs, while China's leader Xi Jinping will be looking to steady relations to help the economy here. The most sensitive issue remains Taiwan, where even small changes in language or tone can have major consequences for regional stability. Alongside that, restrictions on advanced technology and semiconductors continue to be a hurdle. There's also a high-powered business delegation that's coming along that includes Elon Musk, Tim Cook, and the CEOs of Boeing, BlackRock, and Visa. These are American companies looking mostly for access and influence here. There is no expectation of a major deal or reset. In fact, Chinese officials have been holding last-minute meetings in South Korea with U.S. commerce officials, a sign that the 2 sides are still trying to finalize the deliverables. Instead, the summit is about setting guardrails in a rivalry for the longer term to keep the relationship from getting worse. Janice Mackey-Freyer, NBC News, Beijing.
Closer to home, city councilors are looking to lower the amount of money Winnipeg taxpayers will be on the hook for to fund upgrades at the North End water treatment plant. Councillor Sean Dobson and Brian Mays put forward a motion to lobby other levels of government to pick up a bigger share of the tab. Their proposal asks Ottawa to take on half the cost of the 3rd phase of the project and the province to take on a 3rd. Mayor Scott Gillingham says it's a good idea, but it's unlikely the feds will go for it.
I don't think it's realistic at this time because there is no federal program that is structured that way. At best right now, the federal programs are structured a third federal government, a third province of Manitoba, and a third the city of Winnipeg. So under that federal program, the city has already put forward our 1/3 share for the third phase of the North End plant. We're now working with the provincial and federal governments to get their funding secured for the third phase.
The third phase is estimated to cost more than $1.5 billion. A Winnipeg City Councillor wants to push the other levels of government to put home ownership in reach for people who might otherwise not be able to afford it.
I think that rentals are doing quite well, and I think it's time that we start tipping the pendulum to home ownership and home equity.
St. James Councillor Sean Dobson also put forward a motion to lobby the federal and provincial governments to create a program or programs similar to the Housing Accelerator Fund, but geared towards homes. It could include removing the GST and PST on building materials, then purchasing single-story, newly built homes and passing the savings on to prospective buyers. Dobson's motion also specifies buyers should be required to live in the homes for at least 10 years to ensure they're not turned around immediately for a profit. The Executive Policy Committee will consider the motion next week.
I'm not surprised by these numbers. We know that about half of Canadian households are living paycheck to paycheck.
New data involving bankruptcy show more Canadians are feeling a financial strain. We take a closer look at the numbers and what they mean after the break.
Tomorrow and Thursday to start off the long-range forecast. Lovely days in Winnipeg. Sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud, up to 24 on Thursday. Now both Thursday and Friday, which will be cooler by comparison at just 17. A slight chance both days of showers. We should brighten up on Saturday, but we cool off. The first day of the long weekend, just 12 degrees. Clouding over Sunday, 13. There is the possibility of showers on Victoria Day on Monday with a high of just 11.
The former director at the Canadian Centre for Child Protection is taking on a new role with the provincial government.
We are appointing Nani Clausen as our independent commissioner for the teacher registry here in Manitoba.
Nani Clausen worked as a resource teacher before taking on the role of Education and Support Services Director at the Canadian Centre for Child Protection. As the new Commissioner of Teacher Professional Conduct, Clausen will oversee the registry of teachers whose certificates have been suspended or cancelled due to misconduct. She will also investigate complaints, refer matters where appropriate, and may look into possible systemic issues.
There easily could be identified greater issues that are going on beyond the individual case that actually demonstrate or illustrate that there could be some system issues regarding to how people are bringing information forward, how that information coming forward is being interpreted, how that information forward is being actioned.
Clausen replaces Bobby Taillefer, who abruptly left following government concerns about her working remotely from Florida. Clausen begins her 5-year term May 18th.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back now with your complete Skywatch forecast. A lot of sunshine over downtown Winnipeg this hour.
Yeah, we'll take it this hour, next hour. You get the point.
I love it.
Yeah. We'll try and keep this sun going as long as we can. You saw from the long-range forecast, it's kind of a mixed bag over the course of the Victoria Day long weekend. But until then, a couple of beautiful days on tap tomorrow and on Thursday here in Winnipeg and across much of the south. Speaking of which, a little bit more cloudy out to the southwest now. Sunnier skies here in Winnipeg. But again, these north winds racing across your screen there, those arrows moving very quickly, telling you the winds are still very strong. They will diminish by about mid-evening. They'll be much lighter. In northwestern Ontario, you can see the skies clearing over Kenora. Now, Dryden, you had those showers come through in the 4 and 5 o'clock hour. Those are now pushing off to the southeast. They may be just clipping Fort Frances this hour. It is 8 degrees in Kenora here in Winnipeg. What a jump. 19 here, 22 in Brandon, 20 in Dauphin. In the north right now, 8 in Tom. Thompson. It's also 8 degrees over in Lynn Lake. Other way, -2 degrees right now in the Churchill area. A little bit more cloud. It's really going to be more mixed with respect to the cloud cover in the north tonight. Some areas will see more, some will see partly cloudy skies. But the commonality, not just with the north as well as the south, is the potential for fog. We'll see winds finally starting to ease up, and we've got a lot of moisture on the ground in a lot of areas thanks to that low pressure system that came through yesterday across the province. So we may see fog develop. Watch out for that. It could develop in those overnight hours, and it could be a factor for the commute, something to be aware of. Otherwise, we'll see sunshine to start the day across much of Manitoba and into northwestern Ontario. Temperatures will be rising up into the 20s here in the south. Easily, I would say, the nicest day of the week, although Thursday is now looking pretty good for us here in the south too. So speaking of which, once we get into late Wednesday night and into early Thursday morning, just a little bit of cloud popping into the northwest, but you can see really not a lot happening here. Out to the west though, a low pressure system will be crossing Alberta and Saskatchewan on Thursday. We may see some of those showers out in front as far east as parts of southern Manitoba. For tonight, mostly clear, but again, there's that potential for fog overnight down to 5. These northwest strong winds will ease up in a couple of hours. They'll be pretty light the rest of the night and into the commute tomorrow. Mainly sunny, 9 degrees on the way to a high of 22. The winds strengthening in the afternoon out of the south at about 20 kilometers an hour. Up into the northeast tonight, again, cloudy or partly cloudy, but the commonality is the potential for fog. Thompson down to -4, sunny there tomorrow and 15. Conversely, just 1 in Churchill. Clouds stick around. There's even the chance of flurries. Watch for fog overnight in the northwest part of the province. Temperatures either -3 or +3 overnight, and in the mid to upper teens in the sunshine tomorrow. In the southwest, ditto. Watch for the fog. Clear skies otherwise. 4 or 5 degrees overnight for Dauphin and Brandon and the surrounding regions. Sunshine tomorrow. Brandon and Neepawa up to 23. Dauphin and Swan River up to 25 tomorrow. Winnipeg in the southeast fairly clear, but possibly foggy overnight, 4 or 5 degrees overnight. And then mainly sunny here in the city, sunshine outside of the city as well. Temperatures in the low 20s, and in northwestern Ontario, partly cloudy for Kenora and Fort Frances, a little cloudier in Dryden, down to overnight lows between 2 and 4 degrees. Sunny across the region tomorrow with nice highs between 17 and 19 degrees. Our first weather photo. Beautiful look up at that blue sky and the birds. That photo was taken by Aubrey Lynn here in Winnipeg at St. John's Park. And Carol caught this photo, a double rainbow, yesterday evening over Swan River. Email us your weather photos to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. More Canadians filed for insolvency in the first 3 months of this year than in any other quarter since the global financial crisis. There's a growing concern more households are carrying too much debt and having difficulty paying their bills. CTV's Pat Foran explains.
According to the Office of the Superintendent of Bankruptcy, more than 37,000 Canadians either filed a consumer proposal or declared bankruptcy during the first 3 months of this year. That's an increase of 8.5% over the same period in 2025.
I'm not surprised by these numbers. We know that about half of Canadian households are living paycheck to paycheck, which means, they have no savings.
The Canadian Association of Insolvency and Restructuring Professionals says Canadians are carrying record amounts of debt. Many mortgages will come due this year at higher interest rates. Rising food and gas prices, along with other factors, are pushing some households to the brink. In about 80% of cases, clients choose a consumer proposal instead of bankruptcy, which allows them to have a fixed monthly payment and stops interest from accumulating.
Most of the time, they will pay less than what they owe. It's based on their budget and capacity to pay. And you keep your assets in a proposal. In a bankruptcy, you may lose assets.
Almost 14,000 people in Ontario filed consumer proposals and bankruptcy so far this year. That's almost a 15% increase over the year before.
The rate of increase in insolvencies is a lot worse in Ontario than it is in the rest of Canada because we are the engine of the economy.
Licensed insolvency trustee Doug Hoy says tariffs have been detrimental to Ontario and says increasing unemployment remains a concern.
I suspect that we will see a continued, perhaps gradual, but certainly increase in the number of personal insolvencies filed in Ontario for many months to come.
Hoyes recommends keeping debt levels low and to curb your expenses. Anyone facing financial hardships can seek the advice of a licensed insolvency trustee. There is usually no charge for the first meeting. Pat Foran, CTV News.
I'm not sure why they would take a risk with somebody's life to save a few dollars.
Coming up, it's a critical drug needed after an organ transplant, and he's being told to make changes against doctors' orders. Medical Watch is next. From viral tanning trends to risky myths, Gen Z is choosing bronze skin over protection, and dermatologists are concerned. Joining me now to talk more about that disconnect is Dr. Sunil Kalia with the Canadian Dermatology Association. Good to speak with you.
And thanks for having me here today.
I understand this isn't a case of not being aware of the risks. In fact, based on a national survey the CDA conducted, Gen Z knows the risk but is still choosing to tan. Just how popular is tanning among this age group?
Yeah, exactly what you highlighted. The knowledge level has improved. People do know that what the risks of getting too much sun exposure and tanning. But however, people still do get too much sun exposure and tanning. And this is the generation, this is the age group that people still get a lot of sun exposure. And the reason why it is significant is because this is the risky period of time that subsequently leads to development of skin cancer.
What lengths is Gen Z going to get a tan? Are they, laying in the sun using tanning beds, and are some ways riskier than others?
Yeah, the problem is too much excessive UV rays is not good, period. But it's a combination of both. A lot of it is just from sunlight exposure and getting too much sun exposure. But unfortunately, we're still seeing people using tanning beds. In a recent survey that was done, it showed that up to 20% are actually using tanning beds, which is too high because we know that it leads to the development of skin cancer.
What's driving this tanning trend among Gen Z? I mean, I'm Gen X. We're big on sunscreen and hats. So what's changed?
Yeah, it's something that we've always seen in younger age populations. People do get more sun exposure. And it is the fact that what happens is that at that age, people don't think about the long-term risks, right? The long-term risk of skin cancer, because it happens many years later. But I think what we're seeing more, and we don't fully know why this behavior is happening. Sometimes this might be because of the social media influencers, and that is why people think that tanning looking is healthy, and they're thinking of short-term effects. So in short term, they might think that their skin's looking more healthy with that tanned appearance, but ultimately we know with robust data that this tanning behavior does lead to the risky development of skin cancer.
Well, they might not be thinking about those risks at their age. Are you seeing rising rates among young people of, melanoma or just sun damage?
Yeah, so when we look at skin cancer rates, especially since skin cancer occurs many years later after they get too much of those UV rays, but skin cancer is definitely on the rise. It's one of the fastest growing cancers in terms of the rates of cancer rates. It is up there for sure. So we're still seeing an increasing rate.
Seeing as this is May and we will start very soon spending more and more time outside in the sun, what's the message? What should people know?
Yeah, it's just using a common sense approach is usually what we try telling people. So the Canadian Dermatology Association has provided recommendations that are pretty straightforward. We do want people to be active. Being active outdoors is healthy. There's general key steps that one can use to avoid getting too much sun rays, getting that tan appearance that we kind of trying to avoid. And that includes just when you're outside, try during those activities that are not between 11 to 4. You can avoid where the sun is the most intense, avoid those hours. So from, we say 11 to 3 or 11 to 4. And then also try to seek shade whenever possible. So an environment where either you're using in areas covered by trees or other shade structures is always encouraged. And then if you're out in the sun, then try to use protective clothing. That usually is very helpful. So that a wide brimmed hat whenever possible, wearing long sleeve clothing whenever possible. And then if you can't do the above steps, or like what you should get in a routine of doing almost daily when the UV intensity is high, is using that sunscreen, right? Because that sunscreen does add another layer of protection, especially in areas that are not covered, like the face is very important.
Well, Dr. Kelly, I want to thank you so much for the tips. It was great speaking with you.
Thank you.
An Ottawa man says his insurance company is refusing to pay for a brand name drug he's been taking for years in favor of a generic version. He's a kidney transplant recipient who says he's just following his doctor's orders. Katie Griffin has the details.
One of the 1 milligram.
Shad Zachary has taken this medication every day since his kidney transplant 3 years ago.
It's my wife's donated kidney, and I feel I owe it to her to make sure I keep it as healthy as I can for the longest time.
Advagraph, the brand name of the drug tacrolimus, is used to help prevent organ rejection. His insurance plan with the federal government had reimbursed the cost of hundreds of dollars until last month.
They said no, there is a generic medicine.
Canada Life told him reimbursement at the brand name cost can only be approved if an adverse reaction to the lowest cost alternative drug has occurred or is expected to occur. So Zachary sent in the required form with a doctor's note stating there's a risk of organ rejection with a generic version.
And we made sure to point out what the doctor had said about the risks of making the switch, and then when we heard that it was denied the second time, it was mind-boggling.
There are very few medications that fall into that narrow therapeutic index, but anti-rejection medications are one of them.
Zachary's doctor says even small changes can cause the appropriate dose to be ineffective or toxic.
There is essentially no benefit to the patient of doing that, and you are putting them at risk. It's not that generics are bad. It's just that in this case, for this medication, you want to keep as much as possible patients on the same brand of medication to avoid that variability.
In a statement, Canada Life says the government's Public Service Healthcare Plan Authority determines what is covered under its plan, and Canada Life administers claims in compliance with it. The Treasury Board says reimbursement is limited to 80% of the cost of the generic equivalent, and that it's Canada Life's medical experts who determine eligibility for reimbursement of the brand name drug.
I'm blessed that we have two incomes, but there's a lot of things that other people are not going to be in a position to pay. And so I'm not sure why they would take a risk with somebody's life to save a few dollars.
Katie Griffin, CTV News.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manuke and Coster Denture Clinic.
Don't stop believing, because Journey is coming to town. Plus, our first look at who's making an appearance at this year's Winnipeg Comic Con. Spotlight is next.
Spotlight sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting The Incline, Sweet Dreams of Patsy Cline.
An enduring rock band is extending its tour with a stop here in Winnipeg. Journey will bring its The Final Frontier tour to Canada Life Centre on September 29th. The evening will include a celebration of songs, memories, and moments from the past 5 decades. Tickets go on sale Friday through Ticketmaster. Well, comic book fans, you are in for a treat. Winnipeg Comic Con is returning this fall with a celebrity in tow. Actress Femke Janssen, known for her role in the X-Men franchise and the James Bond movie GoldenEye, is the guest of honor. Comic-Con says more celebrities will be announced in the coming months. Launched here in 2021, the event is a pop culture convention showcasing the best in sci-fi, horror, manga, toys, movies, video games, and of course, comic books. It will also feature an exhibition hall, interactive booths, guest panels, and more. The event kicks off at RBC Convention Center on October 30th. And runs through November 1st. Tickets are on sale now at comicconwinnipeg.com. Get ready for 2 nights of great music next month during the Transcona High Neighbor Festival. Organizers have announced Canadian rockers Haywire will headline the Friday evening show. Opening for them is local Fleetwood Mac tribute band Dreams and Rumors. Rock band Prism gets things started on Saturday before it gets a little heavier with Winnipeg-based metal band Skyraid. The Transcona High Neighbor Festival runs June 5th to 7th. Your Tuesday primetime lineup kicks off with Celebrity Jeopardy at 7. Match Game comes next at 8. Then 3 episodes of The Big Bang Theory starting at 9. It is all right here tonight on CTV.
An iconic American donut chain is taking another crack at the Canadian market. How soon Dunkin' plans to return north of the border, that's still ahead.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&Teak Spa Salon.
Couple of things to note on the almanac tonight. The normal high for this time of year is 19, and that was in fact the highest temperature. But the record for this day was set 1 year ago. Do you remember this? 35.6 degrees in Winnipeg on this day in 2025. Yeah, 5 overnight is our low. Fog possible, otherwise fairly clear. Sunshine on Wednesday, 23. Mix of sun and cloud Thursday, 24. Even, yeah, as we get closer to the long weekend, shocker, it'll start to get a little cooler. 17 Friday, a mix of sun and cloud. 12 on Saturday, mostly sunny. 13 on Sunday. 11 with showers likely. Victoria Day. Victoria should be sitting on Monday, not on Sunday. There you go.
Thanks, Colleen. U.S. coffee chain Dunkin' is headed back to Canada. Canadian restaurant operator Foodtastic has signed a master franchising agreement with Dunkin' owner Inspire Brands to open hundreds of locations across the country. Foodtastic, which also runs Second Cup, Milestones, and Freshie, says its first Dunkin' will open in late 2026 or early 2027. Dunkin' once had hundreds of Canadian locations, but closed them in 2018, so something to look forward to.